Welcome to this very special edition of the Author's Voice with KAJ, a show where we explore the stories behind the stories. Here we dive into the worlds created by authors, discover their inspirations, and ensure that you walk away enriched and inspired. And today we have with us author Alessa Caridi. She is a power posture pro and a Workday health interrupter, as she calls, with one goal: teaching hard-working computer-based professionals how to build fitness into their workdays to have consistently stress-free, pain-free, productive days. She is also a certified Pilates instruction and functional fitness public speaker, and also, as I said, she's the author, and we'll talk about her book, The Ultimate Workplace Toolkit. Let's dive into the story behind the story. Welcome to the show, Alessa.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. Welcome once again to the KJ Masterclass, this time on the Author's Voice with KAJ. We'll talk about. But before we come to the book, Alessa, let's talk about your journey towards becoming an author. How did this happen? Did you plan for it, or it just happened?
No, actually it didn't. So years ago, when I started working with corporate clients and going into offices and really just teaching about healthy living tips and tools and like actionable steps, I realized that I wasn't leaving people with things that they can do or continue on after I left their office. I was just talking, giving information, and then moving on. And so I started challenging myself that every time I would go into one of these meetings and give a talk, that I would leave something. So sometimes it would be a simple diagram. Sometimes it would be 5 workout moves that you can do at your desk or stretches that you can do desk side. It was always something that was just like a little takeaway so that, you can look back at what we talked about from your notes, but then also try something that we didn't yet accomplish in the meeting. And at the end of the year, when going in monthly and challenging myself with all of these writings, I said, well, what am I going to do with all this stuff now? I have everything that you could possibly need for having a healthy workday and more, because I would leave them with games, interpersonal reactions, tips on how to, it's actually not tips, it's a worksheet on how to hold a walking meeting. I had all of these things that were just kind of sitting on my computer. So I decided to put them all together, weave in a little bit of a storyline, and then actually create a toolkit that someone can use systematically through their day so that they can create a health schedule, add all of the healthy elements into their busy day that are only minutes at a time. It's small little adjustments, but then it really is everything in one place. And it's also tiny enough so that if you're taking it with you on the go, it's not something that's going to weigh down your computer bag. It was the real reason why I made sure that every tip and tool was really boiled down to just the information and not, pages and pages of things that were just kind of, gratuitous and not really that helpful.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Alessa. And now let's look at your book itself. Here we have your book on the screen, The Ultimate Workspace Space Toolkit. Tell us a bit more about this particular book of yours. What is this book about? You mentioned about it, but for a common person, how should they understand it? Who is this for? Is it only for the office people, or anyone can utilize this toolkit of yours, Alessa?
Yeah, it's primarily for people who work in front of a computer. So it doesn't matter if you're sitting or you have a standing setup. It addresses both of those things. It starts at the very beginning of how to approach your workspace. So how to sit correctly or stand correctly if you're using a standing desk, how to position the things in your workspace so that you can protect your body and optimize for productivity, and then adjusting different elements of things that are around you. So getting rid of unnecessary things, making sure that you only have, your water is there, a snack is there, not an entire meal. We talk about focus and keeping your workspace clean. But then it goes on to then create a health schedule so that you can fit movement, stretching, energizing tips and elements into your workday based on what your workday needs. So it's not at this time, do this, or at this time, we're going to move, or at this time, now it's time to stretch. it's really about, it gives you a framework so that you can say, okay, well, I don't start work till 10, or I stand for the first half of my day and then I sit, or I'm at home for my morning, in the office for the afternoon. It really gives you bits and pieces that you can put together so that then you can go through your day with all of these elements supporting you throughout your entire day.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, in terms of the challenges for working people, what are the main challenges, especially in terms of their posture and all? We all hear about it, but we don't know specifically. People will think, okay, this is just one particular thing, and I can handle it myself. I will just do some stretching, and it will go away. Help us understand what working professionals should look towards themselves in terms of posture, everything, so that they do not have this long lasting impact on their posture, on their health. Help us
Yeah.
understand from that point of view.
Yeah, so there's like a couple of things that I get when people come and say, like, I need to be healthy, but I just don't have the time. That's the first thing that people say to me. And then they say things like sleeping butt syndrome, tech neck, digital fatigue, sitting is the new smoking. We all know these catchphrases, and we all know their real effects. They really affect our days in different ways, right? When you have tech neck, you're hunched over in front of your computer. And these are real problems that people face, but there are much longer, that, just like you were mentioning, they kind of do this, but they don't actually give you a framework, actually give you actionable steps. They just have the catchphrases there. And so when people come with all these problems, tech neck, digital fatigue, and they say, but I just don't have the time, that's the perfect time to just open the book. And for example, inside of the book, right here, we have two different things that you can do on one page, which both of them together, less than 3 minutes that you can do that and have an effective day. And it really will put your mindset back. You're really aligning your body, your brain, and then really putting your day into perspective so that way you can get back into your workday and function, create sustainable high productivity. And that's really the goal. So when someone says, I don't have the time, open to one page of the book, and 3 minutes before you start your next call will not make the time, but use your little bits of free time before the call starts, and you'll have benefits for the next hour.
Absolutely. And you don't need anything, any equipment, anything else beyond the book itself. All you have to have is the book in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, I really focus on understanding your body so that you can use what you already have to stay healthy. So if you want to make something more challenging, and we're talking about doing something simple like arm circles or pulses or pullbacks, what you can do is you can add a water bottle if you want to add some extra weight and you want to make it more challenging. But no, I really don't want you to invest in an expensive chair or a sit-stand desk if that's not within your budget, because you already have what you need. You need a chair, you need a tech, you need your desk, and you can have a productive day. And then when you go through my posture steps, everything that's listed in this book, you're really going to create a strong body. You're going to protect against stress and just go, use your day, make sure you get moving. It's really, I do not want people to have to make investments to feel like that they're going to achieve. You already, just learn about your body, protect your body, and you can have a productive day.
Absolutely, absolutely. Coming to the process of writing this particular book, what was the most challenging part of writing this book? I saw certain, illustrations and all. So help us understand, how did you get all this done? Someone who is wanting to write a book like this can learn from you, Alessa.
Well, I definitely say do what you're passionate about. Write about what you're passionate about, what you know about, what you've been working on, right? So kind of go in that vein, right? Because I spent a year kind of putting the little elements of this together, unknowing that I was going to put a book together. But then also my knowledge of actually putting together a book is very limited. It was very limited. So I made sure that when I had a question, I didn't try to do it myself. I sought out someone who had the skills to accomplish it. My book is a little bit different, just like I showed you, when you have like elements of pictures and things. So I did need to get someone specifically to do a layout for me. Like that was definitely a task that I didn't want to kind of paste together myself, because I did want it to look professional. So my biggest tip is stay with what you know and what you're an expert in, and then seek help for the things that you need a little bit support with.
Absolutely. Talking about your work, you call yourself a power posture pro and your workday health interrupter. Help us understand about that part for the audience.
Yeah, well, very simply put, posture is your first line of defense against stress, because we only get one body and you have to understand how to use it. And if you're sitting at your desk like this and, typing away and you're all smushed up and you're not aligned, your body is going to start to stretch muscles and cramp muscles in ways that we're not meant to be, held for a long period of time. And in general, as humans, we were not made to sit for hours a day, but our work requires us to live a statue lifestyle. And at least if we're going to hold these positions for long periods of time, we should be doing it correctly. And so that's the real reason why the first thing that I teach everybody, and in the first chapter of this book, is how to sit and stand correctly within your workspace. Now, everybody has to sit beyond work, right? We have to sit to eat, we sit when we socialize, we Netflix and binge. So you might as well learn to sit while you're in a place that's very structured, like a table and a desk. So that way, when you're in places like a couch or in a lounge, if you're out with friends and you're socializing in that way, that you can support your body because you know the basics of that. And then to be a health interrupter, what I found when people were objecting to, I just don't have the time, I found it as a fun way to interject movement and fitness into your workday that didn't require you to get on the floor or, drive, miles away to your gym, but instead you can use little bits of movement in little bits of time so that you can stay mobile, long, and strong.
Absolutely. So this is one book. Any other book that is in the pipeline, Alessa? Any other project? Anything else that you are doing? You want the audience, the world to know about?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I get, people love everything that's in here and they use everything that's in here. And there's more than a month's work like movement exercises and information within this book. And the one thing that I always get is we want more movement. So people get the book, they use the book, they, go on social media and they see it. But the problem is that they see my more moves on social media and in videos and everything that I produce. But when you're at work and you want to do more movement and stretching, you can't sit on TikTok and Instagram and LinkedIn and start and scroll through my videos. And so that's the next step for me. I want to create kind of a companion to this so that it stays small and thin, but it's just the movements, just the stretches, just the actionable tips and moves to keep your workday moving. So it's the actual health interruption part of all the tips. So like this helps you set up your workspace, set up your workday, gives you the framework on how to use it. And then the companion book that I'd like to really put together will be exactly what to do in your movement breaks.
Wonderful. Wonderful, Alessa. Now coming back to this book itself, what do you want readers of your book, in terms of insight message to take away with them after reading this book?
That you can be healthy and productive. That's the goal here, is that far too often people think that they need to push through and live for their weekend, right? That they can only relax on the weekend. I really want people to understand that it does not mean you don't need hours and hours of workout classes a week. Now, I'm not here to take that away. So if you like your HIIT workouts and your Pilates classes, go for it. But when you are stressed at work, you need solutions that fit into your work day. And that's what this is that you can get your work done, you can be healthy, you can still have energy after work. And that's the goal of this book, is to show you that there is balance. There is a work-life balance with a healthy work style, as I like to call it.
Wonderful. There is much to learn and understand about all this from you, Alessa. And I'm sure a lot of people would want to connect with you, want to learn more from the book. What is the best way for them to do so?
Oh, send me a message on LinkedIn. That's always the best way to get a hold of me. I answer tons of messages on LinkedIn. Just, I have this pain in my shoulder, or my hip hurts, or, I need to get more walking in. How can you help me with that with my Workday? I talk to people constantly about that. My book is available on Amazon. Go type it in. You can get it. With Amazon, it ships globally, so why not? And then also on Instagram and TikTok, I'm at Alessa.Caridi, so my first and last name. And there you can watch daily videos. I just put up this morning a video about how to walk your stairs. If you only have 5 minutes and you can't physically remove yourself, you can stay close to your workspace and get some extra steps in your day. So I'm always posting videos there with simple tips. But yes, if you want to connect with me directly, send me a message on LinkedIn. You can also go and send me an email, but LinkedIn seems to be the place that people pop in most frequently.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the Author's Voice with KAJ. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you for having me.